Hey guys, so I want to tell you guys a crazy story that I have been calling the sacrificial coach purse. So yeah, I said sacrificial coach purse. So um I was watching some one of the Mike Ty series. I can't remember what, but it was about giving and offerings and tithes and all the things, right? So for most people, and I'm sure you can relate to this, for most people, whenever you give something away, everybody has their season where they like when the seasons change and all that stuff where you give your clothes away, you give all the stuff away that you can't fit. For my kids, when they outgrow stuff, I get a, trash bag or whatever, and I take everything to the Goodwill. Or here lately, I've been taking them to women's shelters. So I went through this season in my life where I was looking in my closet and I had just finished watching, I can't remember what sermon it is. You'll have to go back and watch it and find it. But it was just about giving, basically. And after I watched the sermon, I was like, dang, God, you're right. I got like 25, 30 pairs of shoes in there. I only wear half of that stuff. So I started, I got a bag, and sometimes the spirit leads you to move, like, let's go do this now. You just watched it, let's go do it in real time. And that happens to me a lot. So for this particular situation, it was on a weekend, and I was like, you know what, God, you're right. I don't need this stuff. Let me get rid of this stuff and make somebody's day. So I went through my closet. I started, had like 2 to 3 bags of stuff. And I was so proud of myself, right? So when it's time to give your stuff away, let's just be honest, it's usually what? Stuff that's too small, stuff that's not in style, stuff that you really don't have any real value, like attachment to, right? So yeah, I was like, okay, the stuff I had in the bags were just regular clothes, like things that if I gave away, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? So by the time I get done with my closet, I'm like, I got 3 bags of clothes, right? And I'm like, so proud of myself. I'm like, yes, God, I don't need these clothes. Like somebody else need this. I'm so glad I watched that. You are so right. Like, thank you so much for putting this into perspective for me. And I felt really accomplished. So I had everything out of there, and my closet still had a whole bunch of crap in there. Look like I didn't give nothing away, but I did. And there are some things in there that have sentimental value to me. So those things I did not give away. And 2 of those things were 2 Coach bags. So let me tell you the significance of the Coach bags, and then you'll understand why I didn't give them away. So when I went to college, I went to a predominantly white school. It was a Christian school, and everybody there had money. Let's just be honest. So I attended that school, one, because I got an academic scholarship. Let me just put that out there. I graduated 3rd in my class, so let's be clear. But not only did I get a scholarship because of my academics, I also, in addition to getting an academic scholarship, I also got a minority scholarship to attend this school. So when I got to that school, it was very, 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 very aware and very apparent to me that the people in my classes had money, right? And they showed their wealth through the possessions that they had. Everybody had a Coach bag, right? Like everybody. So me, I'm from a middle class, kind of a standard family. And I did get a Coach bag for my 16th birthday. Never forget, it was just the best purse ever. And so by the time I turned 18, got ready to go to college, Coach bags are really still big. So I remember going to class and having my little Coach bag. And when I say little, I mean like little. Okay. So it was like a 16-year-old size bag, right? Here I am in college. That bag was teeny tiny, but that's all I had. But I had that Coach purse, and that small Coach purse to me, it made me feel like I belonged in that environment. And yes, it's silly to say that that's materialistic and all that, and you shouldn't be worried about what other people have. Yeah, you're right. But when you're 18 and you are in an environment where you already kind of feel like a sore thumb, like sticking out, and anything you do to make it feel like you're supposed to be there, you're going to do. And don't judge me on that. So when I got to my classes and stuff, everybody had Coach bags. And I mean like nice Coach bags, like big ones, different colors. So I already knew. I mean, I didn't really have even my major decided. I was undecided for the whole first year of college. But what I did know is that the only way that I was going to actually be something and be like considered like worthy to even be at that school was if I looked like the people around me. So my first mission in college was not really worried about my major, but let's make sure you get a Coach bag, right? I wanted several bags. Like I seen them girls switch them bags out. Girl on Monday would have a brown one on this day, and on Tuesday she had another bag. I needed multiple Coach bags, okay? So I made it my mission to get a Coach bag. I actually, this is how silly this sounds today. I actually went into the mall that was around the corner from my school. I actually got a part-time job working in a department store that sold Coach bags because I knew that if I was going to get one, I was going to have some type of employee discount, right? So I actually worked part-time to save up my money so I could use my employee discount to get this Coach bag. And by the time I got my first bag, y'all, I was like, I'll never forget it. It was a black Coach bag, all black with the C's on it, and the inside was purple, like really pretty, like whatever the nice fabric is on the inside, beautiful. So that was my first Coach bag. And I could not wait to go to class. I don't even think I had my books, but I had that bag, and it made me feel like I was supposed to be there. Then I got my second Coach purse. My second Coach purse was a brown Coach purse. I'll never forget. It was Valentine's Day. They had some Valentine's special edition Coach purses. Mine was a brown Coach bag with a red zipper and red stripes, and it had red hearts on it. Limited edition Valentine's special. Could not wait. I came to that class, like I said, probably didn't have no books, but I had my Coach bag, and that made me feel like I belonged there, right? It's so sad that that's where we're at in this time, but that's where we are. And I'm not in that season of life anymore, so I don't have no shame about it because that's not the person that I am anymore. But back in them days, materials and wealth and labels was everything for me. So that's where I was. So fast forwarded into where I'm at. So when I was going through those clothes and all that stuff, I had all kinds of stuff in that bag to give away. What I didn't have were them Coach bags. So that's something, I don't know. I had planned on passing them on to my daughter, like Coach purses now are not really in style, but I figured when my daughter becomes 18, 19 years old, these Coach bags are going to be worth something. They're going to be vintage, and I'm going to save these bags. I wasn't using them anymore, but they were nicely put on a hanger in my closet, a certain spot in my closet, and they were hanging up by themselves because they had sentimental value to me. And so when I was packing up all those clothes to get rid of things, one thing that I did not put in them bags were those Coach purses. Wasn't going to do it. And I remember God saying to me, what about them bags? I said, what about them? Those are not up for, we're not giving them bags away. No. I said, I watched the sermon. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad you really touched my heart, Heavenly Father. I receive it, and I'm actually going to live out what you just said. But those Coach bags they're not up for discussion. I'm going to give them away. So God's like, well, I think the sermon was about sacrificial offerings, something that hurts you, right? It's easy to give stuff away, but can you give stuff away that hurts? Man, so I completely ignored God, shut my closet light off, put them clothes in my bag, and went on about my day. So the next morning when I got up to get rid of the clothes, one, I didn't know where to take them. That was number one. So I had already put them in my trunk of my car, and I was like, well, there'll be somewhere for me to take them. But when I tell you, God would not get off me about them Coach purses, that I ended up putting those Coach purses in those bags. And I was not happy about it. It was listen, I should have had a whole funeral about them purses, because when I tell y'all it was so hard for me to give them bags away, not even because I wasn't even wearing the bags. It was just the sentimental value of what those bags meant to me at that particular period in my life. I couldn't let them go. It was like a whole struggle. You would have thought my cousin died. Like, it was a whole thing. So when I finally just swallowed my whatever attitude, I went ahead and I dumped the purses in the bags with the clothes. So I was like, it was a whole moment of silence. Like, I didn't even talk to God about it. So I remember I pulled up to my kids' aftercare that morning, and I had already decided that I was going to take the Coach bags and take all the clothes to the Goodwill, because it's right down the street. And God said to me that morning, he was like, why don't you take all that stuff in there to the aftercare? And I was like, they don't want these clothes. Like, it's a mix of my clothes, kids' clothes. What I look like bringing some like old hand-me-downs in there. I don't even know who's going to want these clothes. They don't even have a donation bin. Like, this is real ghetto for me to bring 3 bags of clothes into this aftercare facility without warning. God's like, just take the clothes in there, take everything in there. So, okay. Once again, just obey. You can complain, but you complain while you obey. So I take the clothes, take the purses in there. All the stuff is jumbled together, right? It's not like a separate. I should have probably put my Coach bags in a separate trash bag, but I was just trying to just let it go. So I put it all in there together. So I get into the aftercare, and two of the attendants in the aftercare are there that morning. And I'm like, hey, I have some clothes and just some leftover things. Are there any children that might be in need that might want these bags? And if so, I want to donate this stuff. You know, it's just stuff that I've outgrown, the kids outgrown, but there are some really nice things in there. So I had to put, I know you think these are like two little jeans, but there are some really nice things in there. So is there anybody in there that you think could really use them, right? So there were two ladies there. The lady was like, "Well, I don't know if we have any kids, but I have friends and stuff, and they have kids, so I'll take it to them." All right, cool. So I left that morning. I left the bags at the aftercare, feeling good, feeling like, okay, God, this was hard, but you're right. It's good. God gets the glory. That's what I'm supposed to do. All right, I gave the stuff away. Not with no intention of seeing that stuff again. Like, you know, when you do something for God, you just kind of check it off and move along, right? So the next day, I take the kids to aftercare. So when you go into aftercare, I don't know if you have any kids or whatever, but when you go into aftercare, usually the very first thing you see is a countertop where you can sign your kids in and out. So you go through the gym, and right there's a table, right? So that morning I'm taking the kids, regular day. I don't have any more clothes or nothing. I've kind of moved on from that situation with the coach purse. I kind of have just let it go, just kind of moved on. When I tell y'all, when I tell y'all that when I turned that corner to sign in my kids to aftercare, when I tell you my coach purse was sitting on the counter at the desk, I wanted to holler. Oh, like, is it my bag? Like, is it my bag? And when I tell y'all it was stuffed and it was wide open, and I was just like, almost wanting to vomit. Like, I'm still like having some real attachment issues to this purse. And it wasn't even the fact that I had given the purse away because I was done with that, but it was the fact that it was still there, and I had to see this purse like fresh the next day with stuff in it that wasn't my stuff. When I tell y'all, I had a moment of silence, and I remember I had to that purse stopped me in my tracks, right? And I thought, dang, I thought she was just over that purse. And I'm like, yeah, I was over it when I was going to give it away and never see it again. I didn't know that God had told me to give it away, to give it to somebody there that I was going to see all the time. Man, when I tell you I signed them kids in so quick, and I went over to the lady, I was like, is that, I said, did you find anybody that, wanted, how did the stuff go? Like, I'm so glad it looks like you found somebody to take the clothes, but I see the purse. Like, did anybody not want the purse? There's stuff in the purse. And I just want to know, like, how did that go? Like, try not to be awkward. I want to say, well, who stuff's in my purse? Like, I changed my mind. Let me get my purse back. In my mind, I went to that coach purse and dumped out all that person's stuff, put it on my shoulder, and drove away. That's not really happened. But in my mind, that's what I was going to do. So the lady was like, yeah, I'm so glad. Oh my gosh. Like, thank you so much for giving that stuff away. You had some really nice stuff in there. And I decided to keep the purse because honestly, I have never had a coach purse in my entire life. And when I saw that purse, I was just so excited. I have never owned a coach purse, and I had to use it today. I mean, when I tell y'all she was elated, I was just like, dang it. I'm so glad you like it. It has a lot of value to me. I hope you enjoy it. And I had to walk out. I had to walk out because, man, talk about a sacrificial gift. Man, that gift cut me deep. Like, and it is so silly that a purse that I haven't used in 10 years will hurt me that bad. But just to go into that aftercare and see that purse on that counter, it was like and it's so funny because it's almost like, to me, it felt like she was like parading around with it, like going down Fashion Week runway with this purse, like doosh, 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 right? And I'm just like, y'all, this is the most dramatic video I've ever made, but yeah, you had to be there, man. I don't even know. You just had to be there for it. So, God, the lady decided to keep the purse. And when I tell y'all, it shouldn't have bothered me, right? So I leave up out of there. I'm like, God, really? Like, for real, for real. Like, he told me to get a purse away, but I didn't know she was gonna take the purse. Like, did she have to take it? Like, I didn't see nobody else wearing my daughter's old clothes in there. Why did she have to keep something that has so much value to me? And God was like, yeah, it had value to you, but did you see how much value it had to her? I was like, dang it. You're right, God. So I had to let it go. So the next couple days, I kept thinking, please, I said, Lord, please, I don't want to keep seeing this purse. Like, this is so hard. Please, can she not be there today? When I tell y'all that lady was there every day with that purse. And then I think she kept the brown one too. So then she would rotate the purses. And they were always at the desk. There are other ladies there. I never saw their purse. They were always there at the desk. Always. That purse was always there. It was always open. She was always jumbling through it. It was just like, you are not just attached to purses. You can walk away, walk away, walk away, walk away. And I did. And so it took me, I'm gonna be honest, it took me about a week or so before seeing that purse didn't have any type of like attachment to me, that I didn't feel anything. And so that was my first time going through a sacrificial offering. And that is something that hurts you, something that you have so much attachment to the point where you're almost idolizing it. Because if you think about that purse, when I think about that purse now, I told y'all how I had it in my closet, right? So my closet has a whole section for purses. When I tell y'all that these Coach purses were on a separate hanger by themselves on a whole nother level in my closet, like, that's how much value they had to me. Even though I had never used them, they represented a time in my life where I was really big on materialistic things, and I really value what other people thought of me. And I thought that my worth was only defined by the materials that I had. So honestly, like, looking back on those purses, they were actually idols, real talk. And that was the first time that I actually gave something a sacrificial offering to someone else. And over time, I was able to be desensitized from seeing the purse. It really didn't bother me. And over time, I was like, dang, I didn't realize how attached I was to that. And it really revealed to me a lot about the person that I'm becoming and the things that really matter to me that really shouldn't matter. And so I continued to give. I ended up giving a lot of other things to those women. And some days I would see those women, they would be like, oh, I wear a size 7. So it almost became something really fun to see how excited they would see for me to bring my clothes in there. And it actually became kind of refreshing to kind of see them. The next day, I would bring in a bag of clothes, and the next day I would see one of the women wearing one of my headbands or something like that. I was like, okay, I see you got the headband, girl. You rocking it, honey, So yeah, so that's my crazy story about sacrificial offerings and my sacrificial Coach purse. And I hope that you hear this story and you really start to take inventory on the things that you value and really ask God to work with you on that stuff. Because now that I think about it, now there are some things that I still really, really treasure, but I started to talk to God and was like, I really shouldn't have nothing in my life like that, where I can't even walk by without fainting. Like, I shouldn't have any material possession that God would ask me to give up that I couldn't give away. And so it showed a lot of growth in how far I've come as a person. And so I would encourage you to start asking God to help you with sacrificial offerings and sacrificial givings, because it actually will change your perspective and it will really show the person that you are and the things that you need to work on.